Hello, everybody. So, what is going to be the adoption of electric vehicles going forward? That's the topic of this video, and I want to specifically review some of the big ideas from Cathie Wood that she published in 2023. So, first of all, let's talk about adoption of new technology. Adoption of new technology follows an S curve. It is essentially always exponential. And it starts slow, then suddenly. Slow, then suddenly. Slow, then suddenly. It is a common pattern of technology. That is what we call the S curve. S curves have in their middle something that we call exponentiality. That's simple. That's exponential growth. We get exponential growth when you are beginning your S curve. And so if you invest in a tech stock riding a S curve, and you take the tech stock, you invest right here, right before the exponentiality, you're going to have exponentiality in your revenue. Um, and this is what I believe, this is where I believe Tesla is. This is why I think a lot of people are very, very big on Tesla right now. Or a lot of people were very big on Apple in 2012, Nvidia in 2015. These stocks have exponentiality that is not seen by analysts. A lot of analysts don't see exponentiality. Let me show you what analysts see. This is what analysts see. This is what, still today, if you talk about electric cars to people who do not follow them closely, they think electric cars are going to get adopted like this. They tell you things like, oh, the grid's never going to work. It's never going to work. There's going to be a bunch of issues. They're not reliable. You can't charge them. Why? Because they do not study technology. Technology always starts slow and then goes fast. Slow, fast. It's a pattern repeated over and over again. By the way, this is just a tiny portion of the technologies. These charts are all over the internet. Go look at them. It's fascinating. And what do we know in general? What do we say about adoption curves? We say that, in general, adoption becomes inevitable, roughly, when you reach the 5% adoption threshold. And I believe that's where we are right now. In Q3 2022, so the last data I could find, and I'm only doing the US because otherwise it gets too complicated, but the US in Q3 of 2022, brand new cars sold was 6% electric vehicles, and Tesla was around 4% of all electric vehicles sold in the third quarter of 2022. And we're at 6%. So Tesla has a 67, 66% market share, two-thirds. 6%, we've crossed that 5% threshold, which is a threshold that we've been seeing more and more before the adoption becomes exponential. And you may ask, well, Tesla, they're not going to work. It's never going to work out. Electric cars are never going to work out. At the beginning of this channel, I spent a lot of time 3 months ago covering Tesla and a few of the different features of Tesla. And why is it that people are adopting electric cars as a whole? And I want to be clear. I use Tesla as an example because I invest in the best-in-class companies, and I believe that Tesla is the best suited to ride the auto revolution curve. I believe that. But that doesn't mean much of what I say here will not apply to other electric brands. I just want to point that out. But why are electric cars a technology? Why is the technology of electric cars getting adopted so fast? Well, this is a chart that I created a few months back, but it's very simple. They are at least 10x, i.e. one order of magnitude, and they may be up to 2 orders of magnitude, that is 100x better than the legacy technology. Why did people get gas cars in droves? Because they were at least 1 order of magnitude better than horses. The same thing is happening today with gas cars, what I'm going to call legacy auto, and Tesla. So why would someone get a Tesla? Well, in most countries around the world, yeah, it's about a $7 charge for your full car at home because you charge it at home at electric rates versus a $70 full tank, right? This works really well in states like New Jersey or California in the US, really well in Europe. There's Teslas that have 1,000,000 miles. If you look at the business plan of Tesla, they wanted to create the car that lasts 1,000,000 miles. They had a 1,000,000-mile warranty. Now, in practice, many Teslas make it, past 300 to 500,000 miles, which is still a 2x. But legacy auto, it's tough to find a car with more than 200 miles, isn't it? As far as moving parts, the Tesla's motor is a rotor and a stator. That's an electric motor. It's very, very simple, very low repairs. There's hundreds of moving parts in engines of cars. And even you have, the suspension and all that, and that's the same for electric car. Almost no maintenance, right? No oil change, no issues with the engine. Software updates, right? With a Tesla, you have a smartphone on wheels, which means you get your updates, which means your car doesn't outdate as fast as legacy auto. Legacy cars, you have new models each year. No more gas station. I have a whole video where I interview people and I talk about gas stations and how awful gas station is for a lot of people. A lot of people hate to go to the gas station. And also gas stations, actually, there's a lot of crime at gas stations. You don't have to go to gas stations anymore when you have an electric car. Most of your driving is going to be at home. Most of your charging is going to be at home. You're going to charge at home most of the time. 95% of the time you charge at home. So you don't go to the gas station anymore. You buy it online, as opposed to a dealership. We've seen this in retail. We've seen the damage that online buying has done to retail. Why do we still have to buy at a dealership a car? No. You have to buy a car online, right? With electric cars, these new brands, they're not going to be under a dealership franchise type agreement. New brands that are selling electric cars sell online. It's a way superior experience, right? Highest safety ratings. We saw that with Tesla crashing 200 miles. Air filters. I've done a video on air filters and why they're so much better. There's a fundamental reason why electric cars are better in filtration. Best driving performance. You'll have a very hard time finding a gas car that accelerates or handles as well as an electric car for less than $200,000, right? They do 0 to 60 in less than 3 seconds. For the best one, less than 2 seconds. And inexpensive insurance. This is logical. Fewer repairs, fewer insurance. And notice how I removed anything about self-driving, because this is not a video about self-driving. But if you add self-driving, some could argue that a self-driving car would get into a 3 order of magnitude better. So these are the fundamental reasons why people are flocking to electric cars. But the question remains, when is this exponentiality going to begin? Which I believe it's already begun. I believe we're right here. But when is it going to begin? Well, Cathie Wood has an opinion about this. Cathie Wood believes that adoption is all about a battery, and I agree. In fact, if you go to her big idea PDF, what is this, right? You probably recognize it. That is a battery pack. That is a battery pack. That's going to be the leading thing that's going to make adoption possible. And electric vehicles, according to Cathie Wood, are predicted to grow at a 50% annual rate for until 2027. So for the next 5 years, roughly 4 to 5 years. But Elon Musk has given us a prediction much longer. Elon Musk has said 50% until 2030, 50% annual rate until 2030. So again, huge adoption predicted. Almost 8 million electric cars were sold in 2022. So what are some of the factors? It's all about the battery. The battery is the limiting factor. That's why you can't sell as many electric cars, because battery is most of the cost of the electric car. Now, what we know is that for every doubling in the number of units produced, battery cell costs fall by 28%. Okay? And how many units do you need to sell for a doubling, right? About 11 million. So the next 11 million units, you're going to have a doubling. And we know we sold almost 8 million in 2022. So within a year and a half, you're going to have a doubling. A doubling is a drop by 28%. And then how much longer until you have another doubling, right? Probably another year and a half to 2 years. So 28% drop, with another 28% drop. Batteries are about to get so cheap. So cheap. And by the way, this curve follows the same for density. So batteries are about to get so cheap that the cost of electric cars is going to go down. And also, you're going to have a thing as a 1,000-mile battery. That is not out of the question, because as the density and the cost declines, high-end manufacturers will be able to have very, very, very crazy batteries, crazy, crazy range in those batteries. This is what has followed, right? The cost. Look at the declining cost of lithium-ion batteries, right? It's keep declining. This is not from Cathie Wood, by the way. So battery costs are going to go down. What else? What else is a hurdle? So remember, Cathie Wood, with this document, she talks to analysts. She talks to Wall Street. And in Wall Street today, what is still the main argument, or Main Street even, what is still the main argument against electric cars? It is, oh, but you can't charge an EV fast. Oh, you're going to get bored because you have to wait to charge your EV. That's the main argument against EVs right now. But there is exponentiality to that argument. First of all, 19 out of 20 trips you do in your hometown. So you charge at home. Every night you just plug it in like a cell phone and you charge at home with really easy, inexpensive plug. With a really easy, inexpensive plug. There's no issue for 95% of the time. This is an issue for when you go on a road trip. Which, of course, in America, that's an issue because it's a big country. So anyways, this is what's going to happen according to Cathie Wood per charging. So we already know, we've already seen the megawatt chargers from Tesla a few weeks ago. So if you have a megawatt charger, and imagine you can use those on a regular Tesla, yeah, you're going to be able to charge your battery in a matter of minutes, maybe 1 minute. But aside from that, and aside from this new tech, this is a more credible prediction of Cathie Wood. No, I believe in megawatt chargers. I think they're a great idea, but this is a more tamed prediction for Wall Street. So right now, what do we know? We know that charging 200 miles of range has moved from 40 minutes to 15 minutes. So already that's not as much of a problem. But look at what Cathie Wood is predicting with the advances that we have in batteries. Right? She is predicting, because as batteries get better and denser, she's predicting that by 2027, right? So 4 years away, we're going to have a 4-minute charge for 200 miles, right? Pumping gas is about a minute. So you're essentially at parity here because the inconvenience of 4 minutes to 1 minute is about the same, right? The inconvenience is having to stop to do something about it. That's the main inconvenience, getting in the car, getting out of the car, swiping your credit card. That's what takes the most time. This, if we get to 4 minutes in 2027, I mean, that's going to be a huge move compared to the 15 minutes today, right? And then, of course, with that curve, the way we're headed, 2030, it will be probably the equivalent to stop to charge an electric vehicle or to stop to charge a gas car. But again, not a problem. Like this is not a problem for the daily driver, for daily consumer who just charges the car at home. Moving on, what else? What else? Price parity, right? Another objection of Wall Street against electric cars is, oh, they cost so expensive. Well, that argument is moot today because the Tesla Model 3, right, under $40,000, and you have the subsidies as well, so you can get a Tesla Model 3 close to $35,000. But even in her model, which takes Model 3 at much higher model, right, 46, 47,000, right, you're still under what it costs for a brand new car. These gas cars are very expensive to build. They have all these moving parts, which you don't have in electric. Electric cars are inherently designed to be built inexpensively. It's the magic of electric cars. It's mass manufactured. Like you would mass manufacture a phone, you can mass manufacture an electric car. And furthermore, there's more and more of them. Because even if, and by the way, this is just the models, this is not how many units they sell, this is just the models that have been announced. Many builders of cars have picked up on this and see the writing on the wall coming for gas cars. So that is another reason. They are cheaper as far as the transaction price. And of course, they've been much cheaper for a long time on lifetime price, right? Lifetime price, if you're in the know about EVs, you know that the lifetime cost of ownership with a $7 tank of gas, that has been cheaper for a long time. So moving on. What else? She's also predicting, and this is, by the way, this is adoption of EVs, right? based on the cost of those EVs, right? And by the way, this is global. This is global, right? It's not US. This is global. So Cathie Wood, right now, global. Today, we're about here. So that means that today, with the current state of electric cars, we can cater to about 20 to 30%, right? 30,000, 40 to 30,000. So that's right here to here, right? So about 20 to 30% of the demand for cars can be catered right now with the current price of electric cars. We are at 6% adoption in the US, and now we've reached the price range where we could have up to 30% adoption. But here's what Cathie Wood is predicting. She's predicting that the average EV price in 2027 will be under $20,000. By the way, she's very bearish compared to Tony Seba, because if you follow Tony Seba, you know by this time he's predicting $10,000. So she's more bearish than Tony Seba. I know it's crazy to say, but she's more bearish. And once you get just under $20,000, you're getting between 70 and 80% of the global market. So this helps in understanding the exponentiality, what's about to come. There's about to be exponential adoption because 80% of the global market by 2027 will be able to get an electric car. So this is crazy. This is crazy stuff. But nonetheless, what is the consensus, right? What are analysts saying right now? Like, what are the pros saying? Well, let's see what the prediction was in 2017. In 2017, they were predicting, as they always do with predictions, a linear trajectory of adoption, right? And we would have had to wait until all the way out here for it to get to 100%. And this is what happened until, today. We've had an exponential here, prediction linear, adoption exponential. And by the way, these are, the dotted line here is the EV sales from 2019 to 2022. So we've had exponential. Let's fast forward to now. These have been the adoptions until today, right? Until 2023, these are the historical sales. And now, experts are predicting a linear trajectory, they see this. And this is what ARK Invest is forecasting. ARK Invest is forecasting another exponential. So when we as a whole, as a society, think that adoption is going to be linear, like this in 2017, and like this in 2022, adoption is predicted to in fact be exponential. And again, feel free to remember why. This has everything to do with, why are people buying these cars? Nobody's forcing people to buy these cars. They are just fundamentally better technologies, It's kind of like the cell phone or the internet or the microwave. These technologies got adopted, or the refrigerator. They are much better. That's why they got adopted. Technological adoption works like this. Electric cars, not just Teslas, are much better than legacy gas cars, and that's why they are getting adopted. It's a superior technology. So, in conclusion, and this is also very bullish for companies with no debt like Tesla, there's going to be a lot of turmoil for internal combustion engine car makers because the demand in 2027, when this is obvious, and this is slowly but going to become obvious, that demand is going to fall off a cliff. You're going to erase so many high sales that there will be few survivors. Not everybody's going to survive, and my guess is that ICE manufacturers who are going to survive are those who have very little debt, or those who have spun off their internal combustion engine unit in a company that's left aside to die and created a new electric brand. Because a lot of companies right now have a lot of debt in the car business. GM and Ford have tremendous amounts of debt. So this will accelerate the adoption of EVs towards the end of this exponential curve. Because during the late majority stage, you may not have a lot of gas car makers left to buy from. Anyways, this was not investment advice. I hope you liked this video. This is just entertainment. Thank you for watching my channel. Thank you for liking. Thank you for subscribing. and have a wonderful day. Thank you.